Welcome. This is another nature video. This is Dan at the Olivet Conference Retreat Center. During the course of a year, there's probably about 125 species of birds that actually visit the retreat center. And today, we're going to focus on one of them, one of my favorite birds, the bluebird of happiness. Bluebirds have had a history that goes back hundreds of years. They like to be in open areas, and back in the early 19th century there was the introduction of the English sparrow earlier, and also the starling, and they started competing with the bluebirds, so the numbers started going down. Also the wood posts for fences, they started switching over from wood to steel, so there was less places for them to nest, and then people were cutting down all these dead trees, so their nesting cavities slowly disappeared, and the bluebirds went into a spiral. So along comes this innovative couple, Dick and Vi Peterson, in the 1960s, and he sees the plight of the bluebirds, and so he works on different box designs, and he comes up with a design that he thinks works, and he goes to the Audubon Society in the 70s, and then they end up forming a group called the Bluebird Recovery Program, which has actually been going on now for 42 years. And this program involves volunteers throughout Minnesota and beyond to help set up boxes for eastern bluebirds. And last year there was like almost 400 people who were monitoring, and they reported 12,000 fledglings of bluebirds in 1 year, just in Minnesota. So it's been a great success story over the years, and we're going to take a little closer look at if you want to become involved and maybe set out a box or two or start a trail. If you want to be a little more ambitious, we're going to give you some tips along the way. Okay, we're outside here now in front of the actual Ruth Youngdahl Lodge at the Retreat Center. And I do have one house set up here at our garden area. Normally I maybe would have it more open. We have a trail here with about 26 houses. All the houses out in the countryside are more or less paired. In other words, I have two houses about 15 feet apart, because lots of times the tree swallows love the same house, and tree swallows will allow bluebirds to be neighbors, but bluebirds won't allow other bluebirds to be immediate neighbors. They have to be in the distance away, out of sight, preferably like 300 feet or more. So the tree swallows you may get in one house, and you may get the bluebirds in another, and they help each other out because they keep an eye out for predators, extra set of eyes, and also the tree swallows are looking for flying insects, and the bluebirds are looking for ground insects, so they're not competing for the same food source. So they make for good neighbors, and occasionally you may have a chickadee nest in the house as well. And if you have it too close to brush, then you tend to get house rent. So you want to keep the houses out in the open, up to 100 feet or more from the nearest tree if you can. But they will attempt to nest in other locations too, and you don't want house sparrows around. Then you may not want to necessarily try, because they compete for the bluebird as well. So the bluebirds are making their nest And we'll take a peek in here. This is a PVC Gilbertson nest box. And one of the things I like about this is it's very sturdy. It has these two places on the edge here. If you just squeeze the PVC, it comes off easy, and then you can show what's inside the box to your kids or other people who might be interested. So this box here had 5 eggs in it last month, and they all fledged about June 10th. And now here, a couple weeks later, I'm looking inside, and what do we have? But we have another bluebird nest. And it actually has 1 blue egg in it. So they have like 4 to 5 eggs, and they'll lay 1 egg a day. Most songbirds lay 1 egg a day, and then they'll start brooding, and so they'll hatch all at once. So they're not really incubating until their clutch is complete. And then it'll take about 2 weeks for the eggs to hatch, and then there'll be another up to 18 days growing that the parents will feed them. Both parents feed them with the bluebirds, and then they will fledge from 18 to 21 days. This is one of the styles of bluebird houses that are out there. This is called the Peterson Bluebird house. So this was developed by Dick and Vi Peterson back in the 60s, and it's been in use since then. It's a little more difficult to build, but has a nice sloping roof and an oval entrance that the bluebirds tend to like. Now the box for the Peterson, this one just flips out, and sometimes you'll have problems with wasp nests up there. So then you would just use a bar of soap and attach or rub it against the top of the ceiling here. Otherwise you could use Vaseline and rub it. That would keep the wasp nest from actually connecting to the house. The other thing you could do would be to get some vanilla extract. There's these buffalo gnats, or black flies, that are sort of hunchback, and they bite on us behind our ears in May and early June, and they'll also attack the baby bluebirds. But if you spray the vanilla around the entrance hole and inside a little bit, it helps to deter them as well. I wanted to read you a poem before we close for the day. This is Bluebirds by Robert Walshall of Coweta, Oklahoma. Bluebirds returning in the spring, males and females on the wing. Hurry, scurry, build that nest. In spring there is no bluebird rest. Soft blue eggs, and sometimes white, promise a future that is bright. Tiny babes soon will speak and ask for food with hungry beak. They eat, and feathers grow, then the blue begins to show. While Mom and Dad have no time to sing, the young begin to test their wings. Soon they are ready to give them a try, and leaving the nest, they are able to fly. As teenagers, they will still be fed, but the nest is no longer their bed. But Mom and Dad still cannot rest. It is time to start that second nest. And hard to believe, but it is true, these teenagers will help feed the new. Go to the Bluebird Recovery Program website, and you can get nesting tips there and other placements and get more specifics. But I hope today you're inspired to help bring back these jewels of bluebirds, the bluebird of happiness.